Episode 2 begins with Elias and Sylas standing at the mouth of the cave. Behind them, faint murmurs from their families echo, urging them forward. The sunlight outside seems so close, just within reach. Yet, as they take their first steps, something shifts. The vines entwining the great tree at the cave's entrance come alive. They twist and writhe, slithering down like living serpents. In moments, the vines form an impenetrable barrier, sealing the entrance shut. The sound of twisting wood and rustling leaves fills the air, and then silence. The voices from outside fade into nothingness, leaving the cave cold and oppressive. Elias stares at the sealed entrance, disbelief and anger washing over him. His hands curl into fists, and his voice trembles as he mutters, "Why? Why now? Haven't we done enough? Haven't we proven ourselves?" His emerald eyes, usually bright with confidence, flicker with frustration and desperation. Turning to Sylas, he gestures angrily toward the vines. "We should just force our way through. Cut these damn vines down if we have to." Sylas shakes his head slowly, his gaze steady and calm, a stark contrast to Elias's turmoil. "Elias," he says, his voice low but resolute, "this isn't about getting out. It's about becoming ready." He steps closer, his dark eyes locking with Elias's. "If we leave now, we'll be nothing more than shadows of what we're meant to be." Sylas turns his attention to the Nightmare Lord's seat, its ancient form glowing faintly in the dim light of the cave. "You feel it too, don't you? This is where we're supposed to be." Before Elias can respond, the Nightmare Lord's seat speaks. Its voice is deep and resonant, filling the cavern as though the very stone walls are alive. "You cannot leave," it declares with an air of finality, "until you harmonize your powers." The weight of its words settles over them like a physical force. Elias exhales sharply, his shoulders slumping slightly. "Fine," he mutters under his breath, his voice heavy with reluctant acceptance. "Then, let's get this over with." Elias sits to meditate, and the world around him begins to dissolve. Reality itself melts away, replaced by the dream world, a twisted, hazy forest where shadows stretch unnaturally and whispers fill the air. The transition is disorienting, a sensation of being pulled into another dimension entirely. The air here feels thick and heavy, carrying a faint metallic tang that leaves a strange taste on his tongue. "What is this place?" he wonders aloud, his voice trembling as it echoes faintly in the oppressive silence. The ground beneath his feet feels alive, shifting slightly as he takes cautious steps. The gnarled trees around him reach out like skeletal hands, their bark blackened and cracked. A sudden rustling in the distance freezes Elias in his tracks. His breath quickens, his heart pounding in his chest. Before he sees it, he feels it, a creeping, suffocating dread. And then it appears. From the shadows, a wolf-like creature emerges. Its smoky, ghost-like tail swirls behind it, and its dark red feet seem stained with blood. A jagged mark on its forehead pulses faintly, emanating an unholy glow. Elias stares, wide-eyed, his instincts screaming at him to run. "What are you?" he whispers, his voice barely audible. The creature snarls, its glowing eyes locking onto him. Elias doesn't wait. He turns and runs, the forest closing in around him as though it, too, is alive. His breath comes in ragged gasps, his legs feel heavy, but he pushes on. Just as hope seems lost, he sees them. 2 spears lying on the ground, slightly damaged but still weapons. He dives for one, gripping it tightly. But as he rises, his foot catches on a vine, and he falls hard. The creature lunges. In a desperate move, Elias thrusts the spear upward, his strength fueled by fear. The strike lands true. The beast lets out a guttural, echoing cry before it begins to dissolve, its smoky form unraveling into threads of shimmering energy. Elias stares in awe as the energy flows into him, filling him with a strange warmth and lightness. His entire body feels lighter, as though gravity itself has loosened its grip on him. As the energy is absorbed, changes begin to manifest. His hair darkens to an inky black, each strand gleaming faintly with a supernatural sheen. His body feels stronger, sturdier, yet strangely untethered, as though he's both part of the world and separate from it. His right eye begins to glow softly, a vivid green hue that seems to pulse in rhythm with his heartbeat. The sensation is overwhelming but not unpleasant. He feels connected to the forest, to the dream world itself, and to something far greater than he can comprehend. The dream world seems to recognize his victory. The air shifts, becoming less oppressive, and the whispers that once filled the forest fall silent. Elias takes a step forward, his body moving with newfound grace and ease. Before he can fully process what's happening, the ground beneath him begins to ripple like water. A faint glow surrounds him, and he feels a tug, a pull, as though the dream world itself is expelling him. In an instant, the forest dissolves and he is thrust back into the cave. Elias gasps as his surroundings come into focus. The cold, damp air of the cave feels sharp and real against his skin. His glowing right eye adjusts to the dim light and he looks down at his hands, still trembling from the battle. "I did it," he murmurs, his voice a mix of disbelief and triumph. "I killed it, and I absorbed it." As Elias's voice fades, his gaze shifts to Sylas. The Nightmare Lord's seat commands Sylas to sit upon the stone that begins to rise from the poison pool. Reluctantly, he obeys, lowering himself onto the cold, slick surface. As soon as he makes contact, the water from the poison pool stirs violently, forming snake-like tendrils that slither up his legs, wrapping around his torso and arms. Sylas gasps as an intense, searing pain begins to course through his body, radiating from the tendrils as they burrow into his skin. The pain climbs higher, reaching his head, and when it floods his mind, visions erupt before him. He sees fragmented memories, faces, voices, and moments of past poison lords. Each fragment is a piece of the knowledge they left behind, an inheritance passed through agony. Sylas's tattoos darken and pulse chaotically, spreading new patterns across his skin as his left side takes on an eerie, necrotic appearance, glowing faintly with volatile energy. He clenches his fists, his knuckles white as he growls through the pain. "If this is what it takes, I'll endure it." His voice is low, determined, and filled with defiance. The tendrils recede slowly, their work complete, leaving Sylas trembling but alive. With a sharp intake of breath, his eyes snap open. His left eye now glows a vivid crimson, its intensity almost burning in the dim light of the cave. He exhales, the weight of his transformation settling over him as his body adjusts to the power surging within him. The two boys lock eyes, their shared silence speaking volumes. Before they can speak further, the Nightmare Lord's seat begins to rumble, its ancient voice reverberating throughout the chamber. "Your paths now diverge," it declares, the tone filled with solemn authority. "Dream Lord, you will return to the dream world, seek the sanctuary place, a beacon of hope and power in the void. Only there will you begin to understand the true depth of your role." Elias frowns, a wave of apprehension washing over him. "The sanctuary place?" he asks aloud, confusion and hesitation coloring his tone. What am I supposed to do there?" The seat responds without hesitation, its tone unwavering. "It is not for you to question. It is for you to find. Step forward, and your journey will continue." Before Elias can protest further, the ground beneath him trembles. A sudden force pulls at him, and the cave begins to blur. "Sylas!" he calls out, his voice tinged with panic as he feels himself being dragged back into the surreal expanse of the dream world. The air here is different, denser, more alive, and he finds himself standing amidst shifting landscapes. The horizon stretches endlessly, but a faint, glowing light beckons in the distance. Elias steadies himself, a new determination settling over him. "The sanctuary place," he mutters under his breath. "I'll find it." Back in the cave, Sylas watches as Elias vanishes. The Nightmare Lord's seat shifts again, the poison pool bubbling faintly as if in anticipation. "Poison Lord," it commands, its tone carrying both authority and gravity. "Your task lies in the knowledge of your predecessors. A passage has opened for you. Enter and uncover the research and secrets left behind by those who came before you." Sylas glances toward the pool and then at the far wall of the cave. Stone crumbles and creaks, revealing a hidden corridor bathed in a faint, greenish glow. He takes a hesitant step forward, his body still adjusting to the chaotic energy coursing through him. "Secrets of the Poison Lords," he murmurs, his voice heavy with curiosity and purpose. "Let's see what you've left for me." The corridor stretches out before him, the glow illuminating ancient carvings and symbols etched into the walls. Each step echoes, the sound swallowed by the depth of the hidden passage. Sylas exhales, his resolve hardening as he descends deeper into the unknown. The episode ends with the two boys embarking on the second phase of their training, their paths now separate but equally vital. The cave, once their crucible, has become the threshold to their destinies, and the trials ahead promise to be even more challenging than those they have already faced.
In the shadow of the cave where secrets lie, two souls awaken neath the poison sky. Bound by fate, their trials begin. Through pain and dreams, they'll rise within. Life sees a haunted world, a nightmare's reign. Sylas feels the poison burn, a searing pain. Markings rise like stories untold. The dream and the poison, the powers they hold. Through the fire, through the night, they'll claim their powers, wield their might. On the edge of chaos they will stand. The seed and the vow, their faithful command. Dreams collide with venom sting. Two kings rise, let the darkness sing. Through the forest of the mind, Elias runs, battling demons under blood-red suns. Spears in hand, his spirit grows. In the dream world's grip, his power flows. Sylas sits upon the stone of pain. Knowledge seeps into his veins. A poison lord with venom's creed, he'll weave the chaos, fulfill the seed. Through the fire, through the night, they'll claim their powers, wield their might. On the edge of chaos they will stand. The seed and the vow, their faithful command. Dreams collide with venom sting. Two kings rise, let the darkness sing. In the echoes of their cries, a world rewrites. Where the cave of shadows bursts the light. On the edge of chaos they will stand. The seed and the vow, their faithful command. Dreams collide with venom stain. Two kings rise, let the darkness sing. So hear the tale, let the legends grow. The dream and the poison, the powers flow. Bound by fate in the darkness deep. The seed and the vow.